All right, ready for another deep dive. Today, it's plants and Sagittarius energy. We've got these excerpts from a Romanian text all about medicinal plants and astrology. Should be pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's a cool idea looking at how specific plants can support, not just physical health, but also personality traits and lifestyle.
Exactly. This source we've got talks about how certain plants can be super helpful for those born under Sagittarius. It goes into both the strengths and challenges, but I think there are takeaways here for everyone about the potential benefits of these plants, regardless of whether you're a Sagittarius yourself or not.
Absolutely. And the way it connects Sagittarius to the element of fire is fascinating, emphasizing that energetic, enthusiastic nature and that love for exploration, always pushing boundaries, right?
Totally. But that much fire got to lead to burnout eventually, right? Constantly on the go, pushing limits has to have a downside.
Yeah, the text definitely cautions that while the fiery energy is great, it needs balance. Yeah, got to avoid burnout. And that's where these plant allies come in. They can support that active lifestyle, but in a more sustainable way.
Okay, so give us the rundown. Who are these plant powerhouses recommended for Sagittarius?
Well, the text focuses on four key plants.
Yeah.
Ginseng, rhodiola, mint, and lavender. Each brings something unique to the table when it comes to supporting a Sagittarius's well-being.
Let's break them down one by one, starting with ginseng. It's often touted for energy-boosting properties, but I feel like there's got to be more to it than that.
There is. The text describes it as an adaptogen, so it helps the body adapt to stress more effectively.
Okay, but what does that even mean? Adaptogen. People throw that word around.
Right, it's a good question. So adaptogens, they work at like a cellular level to help regulate the body's stress response. When we're stressed, our bodies release hormones like cortisol, and over time, high levels of that can lead to fatigue, anxiety, all sorts of problems. So adaptogens like ginseng, they help modulate that stress response.
So it's not just masking stress symptoms, it's helping our bodies deal with it better from the inside out.
Yeah, exactly. And with ginseng specifically, the source points out that it can boost both physical and mental energy.
Mm.
And it supports cognitive function,
Yeah.
which we know really aligns with that active, always learning Sagittarius personality.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
The text also mentioned improved concentration. Is there a connection there?
Oh, there could be. Research suggests that ginseng, it improves blood flow, and that can enhance cognitive function and focus. So it's like giving your brain a little extra oxygen boost, helps it stay sharp.
Not just for energy then, but for clear thinking too. I like
Yeah.
it. So how does the text recommend actually using ginseng?
Well, ginseng tea is a great way to start the day, it says. Provides a more gentle and sustained energy boost compared to, let's say, coffee.
Interesting. Because a lot of Sagittarius folks, the coffee lovers, right?
Yeah.
Always got to have that fuel for their adventures. Swapping that for tea could be a challenge, but I get the appeal of a more balanced boost.
For sure. It's about finding what works for you. But it's good to have options. Of course, with any potent plant, good idea to talk to a healthcare professional before using it regularly, especially if you've got any pre-existing conditions.
Always good advice. Okay, next up on our plant list is rhodiola. Heard of it, but tell us more about how it connects to this whole Sagittarius archetype.
Rhodiola is another powerful adaptogen, and what's interesting for Sagittarius specifically is how it supports long-term energy levels and manages stress. Think of that like a marathon runner, but in the plant world. It's there for the long haul, helps maintain stamina even when you're dealing with demanding tasks.
So not just a quick burst, it's about staying resilient over time. Sounds valuable for anyone, but especially for those Sagittarius folks always going full speed ahead.
Precisely. And the text highlights how it can be part of your daily routine to combat fatigue and support mental performance, often taken as tea or a supplement. There's a lot of research out there looking into its benefits.
So similar to ginseng then, in those adaptogenic properties and supporting energy and focus. Any precautions mentioned for rhodiola?
The text does advise against continuous long-term use without talking to a healthcare professional, especially if you have any cardiovascular issues or other concerns. It's always best to be cautious, when you're incorporating new herbs or supplements.
Good point. Okay, now for our third plant. Mint. It's so refreshing, invigorating. I can already see how it might fit into a Sagittarius's zest for life. What's the text say?
It highlights mint's ability to stimulate mental clarity, energize the nervous system, like a breath of fresh air for your mind,
Mm.
helps you stay focused, especially when you're feeling mentally fatigued.
I love that. So it's not just about the refreshing taste, there's an actual cognitive benefit.
Exactly. And, that ties into the Sagittarius, always learning, exploring new ideas, engaging in those mentally stimulating activities.
Makes sense. What are some ways the source suggests actually using mint to get these benefits?
Well, one thing it mentions is just enjoying a cup of mint tea after meals. It aids digestion, but also you get that refreshing mental boost.
That's a great tip. I can see that being helpful, especially for Sagittarius folks who love to indulge, maybe try new cuisines as part of their adventures, then a little mint tea to settle
Oh,
things.
for sure. And the source also mentions mint essential oil. Aromatherapy, or even just applying a few drops to your wrists, instant energy and focus boost, like a little pick-me-up you carry with you.
Okay, I have got to try that. Always looking for natural ways to combat that afternoon slump. All right, on to our final plant ally on this list, lavender. I already think relaxation, calmness, but
Yeah.
what's the connection to Sagittarius?
Well, you're right. Lavender is known for those calming properties.
Hmm.
The text really emphasizes how it can reduce anxiety and stress, which, can be super beneficial for Sagittarius. They've got those fast-paced lifestyles, might be prone to tension or burnout.
So, like a gentle reminder to slow down, take a breath, find some balance amidst all that fiery energy.
Exactly. And it can promote restful sleep, too, which is essential for anyone who's constantly on the go, pushing limits. Got to have that time to recharge, and lavender can definitely help.
So, are we seeing a pattern here with these plans? Like, they're all addressing this potential for burnout, but each in a different way?
Yeah, I think you're spot on. Ginseng, rhodiola, providing that energy and resilience. Mint, the mental clarity and focus. And then lavender brings in the relaxation, the restoration. It's like a holistic approach to well-being,
Ah,
addressing all these different aspects.
I love that. It's like building a toolkit of plant allies to support a balanced life, no matter what your sign is. So, how does the source suggest using lavender? I'm already picturing a relaxing bath.
Haha, that's exactly what it mentions.
Mm.
Lavender bath, especially at the end of a long day.
Oh, yeah, sign me up. Anything else?
Lavender essential oil in a diffuser is great, creates that relaxing atmosphere at home, even in your workspace. And of course, lavender tea, particularly before bed to unwind, get a peaceful night's sleep.
Lavender tea is a favorite of mine, part of my evening routine. Any precautions for lavender, by the way?
Similar to mint oil, the text says dilute it before putting it on your skin, especially if you have sensitive skin. Essential oils are powerful, always good to be cautious.
Key reminder. Okay, I want to shift gears a bit now and talk about something that stood out in the Sork material. It discussed how Sagittarius individuals often face specific challenges that can impact their well-being.
Right. It highlights two main ones that come up a lot with this sign. First is stress and mental burnout. Makes sense with their fast-paced lifestyle, always on the go.
Totally. They're always seeking new experiences, pushing boundaries, expanding their horizons. Very exciting. But it can take a toll if you're not careful. What's the second challenge?
The second one is finding that balance between work, fun, and self-care. Classic struggle, balancing all the things, making time for responsibilities, but also honoring that need for adventure and enjoyment.
It's so true. And honestly, I think that resonates with everyone these days, not just Sagittarius. We're all juggling so much, trying to find that balance. But what I like is that this source doesn't just point out the problems, it offers solutions using these plant allies we've been talking about.
Absolutely. And that's where it gets really interesting. It goes into specific rituals and routines, incorporating these plants to help address these Sagittarius-specific challenges.
Okay, tell me more. Let's get into those rituals, see what we can learn.
For mornings, it really emphasizes ginseng and rhodiola, bringing back those energizing and stress-adapting properties. It even suggests, think about it, maybe they can even replace your coffee.
Whoa, that's a bold move. I know some Sagittarius folks who'd never give up their coffee. What would be the benefit of making that swap?
Well, with ginseng or rhodiola tea, you're getting a gentler, more sustained energy boost.
Hmm.
Without the jitters or that potential crash you can get from coffee, it's about supporting that natural Sagittarius fire, but in a more balanced way.
Okay, I see the appeal. Working with your energy, not against it. What about evening rituals? Anything for the end of the day?
The text recommends, no surprise here, lavender. To unwind, prepare for sleep. Cup of tea before bed can help. And it also mentions, like you were picturing earlier, a lavender bath. Sounds incredibly calming.
Oh, I am so on board with that. Perfect way to let go of the day's stress. But how can people listening experiment with these rituals, make them their own? Not everyone's going to be into swapping coffee for tea.
You're so right. It's about what works for you, your preferences. Maybe start small, swap one afternoon coffee for ginseng tea, see how you feel, or incorporate a lavender diffuser into your evenings. Try a few drops of mint oil on your wrist when you need focus at work. Just be open to experimenting.
I love that. No rigid rules. It's about taking these ideas and fitting them into your life. Now, one more connection from the source material I want to touch on, gardening. It specifically mentioned planting mint or basil for Sagittarius folks. Why is that?
That's interesting, right? It's about grounding and stress relief, that connection to nature. Even if you're not a gardener, tending to plants, getting your hands dirty, watching things grow, it can be really calming.
It's funny you mentioned that. I remember this one, Liam. I was so overwhelmed with work, just stressed out. I took a walk in this park and just being around the trees, breathing the air, it was like an instant calming effect, a reset button for my mind.
Exactly. And even without a park, having a few plants at home or work brings that nature indoors, gives you that grounding energy. Simple way to reconnect with the natural world. Find some peace in all the chaos.
I'm so glad we're talking about this. It's easy to forget about the simple pleasures of nature, you know? This whole deep dive is making me want to get back into having plants around.
Yeah, it's amazing how powerful that can be. Even just a little bit of nature. I'm feeling inspired to nurture my own little indoor jungle after this. Haha.
Mm.
But before we wrap up, I'd love to hear your final thoughts. What are the big takeaways you hope our listeners are walking away with? What strikes me is that emphasis on balance,
Yeah.
especially for those with that Sagittarius energy. We hear about self-care all the time, but it's tough to actually do it, right? When you're busy chasing goals, adventures, new experiences. So these plants are like a little reminder. You can nurture your well-being, but you don't have to sacrifice that drive or excitement for life.
Such a good point. It's not about being passive, losing that adventurous spirit. It's about finding a rhythm that lets you thrive in all areas.
Exactly. And I think this also shows how powerful plants can be in supporting us along the way. Ginseng for energy, lavender for chilling out and sleep, mint for focus. It's
Hmm.
like they offer this gentle but effective way to, address whatever you need.
I totally agree. This whole conversation has reminded me there's so much wisdom in nature. Sometimes the simplest things are the most powerful.
For sure. And it makes me wonder, how can we, even the busiest people, how can we make well-being a priority without losing that zest for life?
Yeah.
It's a good challenge, and maybe these plants can help us figure it out.
I love that. So, to everyone listening, if even one of these plants has piqued your interest, go for it. Experiment, see what happens. This world is full of amazing natural allies just waiting to be discovered. Who knows, you might find a new favorite plant friend.
And a new level of balance and vitality within yourself.
Until next time, keep exploring and don't forget to nurture that inner fire.